People of the State of Michigan versus Christopher Michael Drake, 2023431. Mr. Drake is here represented by Mr. George, and Mr. Gabriel is the prosecutor. Mr. George, does Mr. Drake have any objection to continuing on video today?
No, Your Honor.
And the plea involved a no contest plea to count one, criminal sexual conduct in the second degree involving a person under 13 as a second offense. Prosecutor dismissed the other counts and as well as the habitual offender fourth offense, and filed 2023432 FC. And so therefore, Mr. George, are there any additions, corrections, or deletions to the accuracy of the report?
Your Honor, the one thing that I would bring up as I'm looking at the cover page, and as the court's well aware, Mr. Gabriel's well aware, we're back here on resentencing. My understanding is that this was not as a second or subsequent offense, that it was simply as a criminal sexual conduct in the second degree.
That's what I thought too, but I'm glad that we have that stipulation. So again, it specifically dropped the second or subsequent offense after our last hearing, and it was just to one count of CSC in the second degree for resentencing. Okay, so we have corrected that. So with that, if that's how it's in the arraignment order, make sure it's changed.
They filed a new and it's just one count of CSC.
Right. Okay. All right then. With that, the agent recommends the prior record variable at 75, level F. Offense variable 20, level 3. Guideline range 36 to 71 months.
I concur, Your Honor.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. Allocution.
Thank you, Your Honor. Well, as I previously stated, we're here on the second time on this, and I know that Your Honor has reviewed the reports on both cases as well as the previous sentencing, so I don't think there's any reason to go further into that. We would simply, now that we have an understanding that there isn't the 5-year mandatory minimum as it would be required as a second or subsequent offense, that you consider sentencing my client at the bottom end of the guidelines. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Drake. You pled no contest, but this would be your opportunity to plead, or not to plead, but to tell me whatever it is you'd like me to know. Is there anything you'd like me to know?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Gabriel?
Here, I would just indicate that the recommended sentence by the Department of Corrections was never really tied to the second or subsequent requirement. The 5 years recommended is within the guideline range, and I don't see that there's anything in the pre-sentence report that should convince the court to alter the original minimum sentence.
All right. Thank you. All right, so we're here today on sentencing for an offense that occurred in 2020, where it's alleged that Mr. Drake, while intoxicated at the home of a relative, approached a female relative, an 8-year-old, had her watch a movie with him, and then attempted to touch her vaginal area and buttocks, and then took her hand to touch his penis. She said no, and that was the end of it. He then left, but there was no allegations of penetration. But he did have her touch his penis, and so he also was here earlier, and he had, in 1996, had So 20, or I don't know, quite a few years ago, he was convicted of having a sexual relationship with a minor. And 25 years later, he has another one. So there was that confusion that the 5-year mandatory minimum was applicable, and now it isn't. I've reviewed the report. I reviewed the report where it said that the defendant admitted and accepted responsibility for his actions when asked by the agent. And so he is, again, also, he expressed remorse at the time for what he had done to the agent. And I respect that part. He needs to get a handle on the substance abuse and these other issues. Therefore, I am going to sentence at the defendant to 4 years to 15 years, credit for 316 days served. And again, the mandatory $68 state cost, $130 crime victims assessment.
Was lifetime monitoring addressed in this one? Is that part of the reason it was kicked as well?
No. But what about the lifetime monitoring, which is apparently never included in the Department of Corrections reports? Makes me look it up every time. CSC second degree,
Under 13?
it does require lifetime electronic monitoring, does it not?
When a child under 13, I believe so.
Yes, it does. So lifetime electronic monitoring. All right. With that, Mr. Drake, you've been given 3 forms advising of what your rights on appeal are. I'd ask you to sign 1 copy acknowledging that you received them. If you wish to appeal, you need to fill them out, return to the court within 42 days. All right, thank you.